When I say the word alien, what is the first thing you think of? A green, humanoid creature with an oval-shaped head? Maybe a bloodthirsty xenomorph created to terrify viewers sitting on a couch? Or it's possible that you think of a species similar to our own, living on a planet far, far away. Whatever it is, you have the wrong picture, the wrong idea. There is much more than anyone could have ever imagined until 2 days ago. My team and I were working at the lab on just another project that was assigned to us after the previous communications effort had failed. They always failed. It had been 5 years since I started at the lab, trying to devise new possible methods of alien communication. 5 years may not seem like an extraordinary amount of time, but since I was only 32 years old and not getting a single result, question answered, or seemingly any progress since I was just out of school, was extremely demoralizing. "Hey Doc, I think one of the circuits is busted in the cube, mind fixing it? I'm kinda busy right now, I'll get it next time," said one of my coworkers. "Yeah, sure, I got it," I said unenthusiastically. Repairing stuff was always tedious and annoying work. I could do it, but it always put me in a bad mood when something was broken. I got my tools and flashlight and slowly walked into the pitch black, 20 by 20 by 20 meter room. This room is what we call the Cube, our latest attempt at making contact with extraterrestrial life by trying to weave around Einstein's laws of the universe. It's a common fact that nothing can go faster than the speed of light, and while the speed of light is extremely fast to humans in our everyday lives, it is an enormous barrier when trying to communicate through the universe. The closest star to Earth is Proxima Centauri, about 4.2 light-years away. So hypothetically, if there were living beings who could communicate with us there, it would take about 8.4 years before we received any signal from them. But that's only the closest star. Our own Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light-years in diameter, and the entire observable universe is about 93 billion light-years in diameter. So, it was clear that we needed to devise a way to cheat this law. Instead of sending communications across space, we were attempting to communicate through space itself. We tried to warp space in such a way that messages could be broadcasted across the universe, instantaneously. To put it simply, this was an extremely hard task with endless challenges and problems. Our equations told us that warping even a minuscule part of space for just minutes would take an unbelievable amount of energy. This obviously was not a simple task, even with some of the best minds on the planet, but it would win us a Nobel Prize and an eternal place in the history books of our species. We ran the cube twice earlier in the week for the first time. Most of the simulations worked without problems, but there were still a few kinks we could not work out. Everyone was at their positions, listening to the roar of the cube as it attempted to do the impossible. I continued to watch the monitors, but nothing seemed to happen. It seemed that the readings told us that there was still not enough energy being concentrated to be able to accomplish our achievement. It was disappointing but not unexpected, as science never works on the first few tries. I popped open the circuit and started getting to work when I heard a muffled yell. Now, whenever there's a yell in a laboratory, either someone nearly killed themselves or they just found something big. Both cases meant I dropped all my equipment and sprinted to see what the cause was. I swear it was right there. Something came up on the monitor, seriously. It looked for a second like... And he trailed off. "Like?" I screamed. Everybody now faced my incredulously desperate face. "Doctor, I think I got a ping." I quickly took over his position and started to check the logs of what the computer had been reading. I felt the eyes of all my coworkers staring at my back, thoughts flying through our heads. But as I kept looking, it was the same static that we had been picking up since the project was started. Nothing out of the ordinary. How is that possible when we haven't even turned it on yet? "Are you sure you saw something?" I pressed. "I saw it. It was right there. It should have been in the logs for real." At this point, I called everyone off and told them to go back to their work. I got disappointed groans and signs from most, but it was understandable. I pulled the man who said he saw the ping to the side and tried to figure out what kind of game he was playing. What was that? Seriously? Are you having hallucinations or what? Sorry, I'm really sorry, I swear I got a ping. I don't know what happened. Okay, just next time try not to interrupt anyone, alright? Yeah, sorry about that, Doc, but I seriously swear I saw it. I walked off, confused and somewhat bewildered. A ping is when our computers pick up an event or anomaly inside the cube. In our case, anomaly or event meant alien communication. If everything went well, the computers would detect the anomaly and then send its information to the computer's logs so that we could analyze it. Now, I know my team, and they are all honest and honorable people. But there wasn't anything in the logs, and computers never lie. Confused and unsure of what to think, I returned to fixing the circuit inside the pitch-black, technological beast that we had created. The day after I started to run simulations on the cube, testing an uncountable number of factors that would all need to work together for our success. So far, we had not run a simulation that would give us the results that we all craved. It took hours to code just a few different simulations with slightly different conditions, and the results varied greatly. It seems like either it just wouldn't work, space would not be warped for long enough for anything to actually be sent through, or the whole thing would undergo some amazing way of being obliterated. Being extremely inspired after very eventful hours today, I met with the head of the engineering department to try and get some good news. I got you a hot cup of coffee if you can tell me anything that's going to make my day better. Still getting the same results from that screen you're always glued to? Yeah, you know how it's been going. So anything? Well, actually, yeah, I think you're going to be happy. We found a pretty critical problem this morning inside of the ROX. For some reason, they streamed the jets of energy at different velocities and at slightly different vectors. The team should have it fixed by the end of the day. That's huge! I'll get you 2 cups of coffee for that one. Sure thing, Doc. I'm expecting them. No wonder the simulations wouldn't work. Space couldn't be constantly and consistently warped if the ROX delivered uneven amounts of energy into slightly different places. If the ROXs could all deliver the correct amount of energy into an extremely precise area of space, we might have finally started to get some results. In a happier mood and daydreaming about the success that we could achieve, I skipped back to my desk and started to get back to some busy work. But the whole time, I couldn't stop thinking about what could happen tomorrow. Suddenly, I was interrupted by the head of engineering sprinting down the hall, coming to a quick halt completely out of breath. Doc, that guy yesterday who said he saw a ping? Well, he didn't lie. I just saw it too. I didn't even say a word. I ran after him back to our computers to see what in the hell was going on. This time it was only me and him, rather than the entire staff at the lab. But once again, all I could see was static, constant readings. No signs of anomalies or detections. The logs agreed with me, which made me even more thoroughly confused. I knew that everyone on my team was honest and hardworking, and wanted these results more than anyone, especially the man who was sitting right beside me. The head of engineering wasn't done, though. Doc, there was a ping. It was short, it was fast, but it was there. What the hell is going on with this? I didn't respond. My face was scrunched up from intense thinking. Trying to make sense of what was going on, I finally broke the silence. Okay, so here's the situation. Somehow and for some reason the cube has gotten 2 pings, which started yesterday. We weren't running it when we got them, and as you said the ROX are still undergoing maintenance. We haven't prompted anything to happen, yet the computers are saying otherwise. This has to be a mechanical error. Can you get a team together and check the detection instruments, and I'll get some guys to check on the computers? Sounds good to me, Doc. We both went our separate ways and gathered up our people to try and find the problem that was giving us these errors. As you can guess, no problems were found. Stumped and tired, I decided to stop thinking about it and just waited for the ROX to be fixed. I looked at the sunset as I did every night, wondering about our place in the universe. There was something so peaceful about looking at such a powerful cosmic object with our own human eyes, unaided by instruments or machines. It always brought me a sense of peacefulness and purpose that nothing else could. Some people relieve stress and run from their problems by reading, writing, playing video games, meditation, painting, playing sports, drugs, or any other numerous things. Mine was and will always be looking up at the full moon engulfed by stars in the night sky, and the blinding, natural nuclear reactor that holds our solar system intact and allows for life on this planet. I felt something was off, and I turned around to see an employee standing behind me. Sorry to disturb you, Doc, but the ROX are fixed. I started to get up, and we started to walk back toward the lab as I transitioned my brain into my working mode. I sat down and started to finish coding the simulation with our new and improved ROX. I typed away, thinking the whole time about what would happen if we were successful. I was about to start the simulation when I hesitated, doubting myself. What if this works and something unthinkable happens? I thought to myself. I let 2 seconds pass and clicked run. The computer started going through the motions, and numbers started flying through the screen. I waited patiently but anxiously, hoping for something I had not seen before to appear on the monitor. The simulation ended, and my eyes flashed open. Simulation number 2519 AZ successfully completed. I sat in a dumbed silence, looking upon words that had so much meaning behind them. Yes! I screamed at the top of my lungs. I ran out of the room and showed everyone what had just happened. It was time to use the cube. We checked off all the settings and set everything into position. Every minor detail was accounted for. I was ready for some results. I pressed the button, and a loud hum started to fill the room. It got louder and louder until it turned into the ferocious roar we had heard earlier in the week. I continued to watch the monitor more intensely than I ever had before. Suddenly, a ping appeared. But the ping was not alone this time. The logs started to fill, but not in the way that I was expecting. There were no crazy symbols, numbers, or frequencies that we would need to decipher with a team. It was in English. It read, "You are the last species that remain in the non-habitable zone. If you warp space for much longer, you will find out why." Shaking, I rapidly typed a reply to send through the cube that said, "Who are you? Where are you? What is the non-habitable zone? Why are we the last species? What else can you say?" Oddly, the logs filled instantly after I sent the message. "It is too late. The Dark are already on their way.